student supports, an institution makes many effort to provide necessary support to the students by giving good campus experiences for the holistic development of an individual. To enlighten us with this topic, we have with us Dr. Sarla. It gives me immense pleasure to introducing Dr. Sarla. Dr. Sarla head Department of Physics and Electronics at St. Anne's College and has more than 35 years of teaching experience. Her fascination towards technology has driven her in organizing various training programs, workshops, faculty development programs, and webinar on technology. Ma'am has several paper publications in national and international peer-reviewed journals, an exclusive YouTube channel with more than 2.5 lakh viewership. She has authored 3 textbooks in electronic for UG students. She is the national coordinator for online courses and nodal for virtual labs, and has reviewed video content of online courses in electronics, has been motivation behind enrolling students with online courses, and has been felicitated by IIT Chennai and Bombay for being an active coordinator for online courses consistently. Apart from this, ma'am has served the institution as Dean, IQAC coordinator, autonomy coordinator, ICT coordinator, and also the coordinator for College with Potential for excellent status by UGC twice. We are indeed privileged to have you, ma'am, with us today. Let us invite Dr. Sarla, ma'am, to proceed with technical session 8, which is student supports and progression. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello?
Yes, yes. You can start.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, thank you for a nice introduction, Bob. I'm indeed honored to be here. I thank Sister Principal and also the guiding force, Dr. Smita Asthana. We both have been friends for more than 35 years. Thank you very much. Let me now take my screen. Start with. I think my screen is visible.
No.
Is my screen visible?
No.
No, we can see.
No?
Not yet, ma'am.
Not yet. One second. Just give me some time. So, as this is a student support. Till yesterday, you were listening to different sessions as teachers. So today, let's become
Just give us 1 minute.
screen. One second. I think it's
Yes, ma'am, it's begun.
so integration of ICT also sometimes gives us problem. Technology lets us down. Thank you very much. Let's go on. So till yesterday, I think you are all learners, teachers, learning about different curricular aspects, teaching learning process, what are the research contribution by the teachers, what is infrastructure that is needed to put it up and to provide for the facilities, and then what is a governance role, and what are the best practices being offered to the students. Today, let us all become students. So let this criteria be treated as student support and progression. So let's start with what is the logic behind this particular thing. So in this present COVID situation and pandemic situation, we have to, it's a digital era, and there is a volume of information, and then lot of information explosion that is happening. And when the students are all digital natives and they can get better acquainted more than us, and they pick up things faster than us, then what is our role here? When information is flowing in such a big volume, explosion is taking place, we have to guide them on what is relevant for them, what is the right thing, and direct them. That is our role as a teacher here. So now, basically, we have to concentrate on 3 things. One is the domain knowledge, the excellence in the domain knowledge of any student and a particular discipline. Then, more so with the final year students, we have to concentrate on job potential and we have to make them ready for the job. This is the second thing. Then the third one is not only giving them good education, giving them curriculum-based education, giving them placement assistance, see to it that they are placed. Apart from this, we also ensure that their holistical development also is taking place. So with these three, actually our vision also has been discussed at length in the last 2 days. So we have these 3 points integrated into our vision, and we are here. So teachers here are acting as facilitators in imparting education. Okay. So I've acronymed it as something like April. This is my own. So we should have been alertness, preparedness, responsiveness, inquisitiveness, lawfulness. What is this alertness? The institution is a superset. We, the teachers, the faculty members, students, teaching and non-teaching become a part of it. So we are subsets of the superset. So how alert are we for the changing needs of the society? And being alert is not enough. We also should be prepared. Are you prepared to adopt yourself to the diverse needs? Then alertness is over, preparedness is over. Then what about responsiveness? We should be able to respond to the changing needs. And I think in the management classes, you must have all heard, some of you be the change, you want to see the change in others. So you should be responsible enough and respond immediately as and when the need arises. Then inquisitiveness. How well the institution along with faculty members are interested in experimentation, trying out new things, and whenever there is a change in other curriculum aspects, how are we in tune with it? Then most important thing being lawfulness. You should be good in our thoughts, words, and deeds, and that is what we have to impart it to our students. So with this, let's go on. This particular criteria that we are talking about can be captured in 4 key indicators. Now, by now, I think all of you must be aware of this. So this is divided into student support, student progression, student participation and activities, and alumni. So what is it? Let us go in details of this. These key indicators, basically the student support. What kind of assistance are you giving? See, you have to nurture the student, categorize the students into various categories. Some of them will be financially very sound, some of them are not. So our institution, along with faculty members, what is our primary role? Identify the students' needs, and in case some students need any assistance, see to it that they are taken care of. There are many government organizations as well as non-government organizations. So that disbursement of the scholarships has to be ensured that it reaches the end user. So that is one aspect. Placement assistance, life skills. Life skills, I told you, for a holistic development, career guidance, all these are, the student support services an institution is expected to impart and provide for them. Then giving an education is not just enough. We have to see to it that they progress very well into their higher education, and see to it that they represent the college at various examinations and get through these competitive examinations, GRE, GMAT, government examinations. And then we have to, if necessary, if you have a potential, right resources within our own colleges, you have to see to it that they are given enough coaching. So those who can afford will go to other institutions for the coaching, but for the needy, we have to provide a platform for them to learn. So it's an extra mile that we have to go to be able to do this. Then, not only this, we also have to provide some cultural, literary, and something in between the academics, see to it that they excel well in these activities, also co-curricular and extracurricular activities. They should represent the college at national, international levels. They get us laurels. That also adds, that's a kind of, emotional levels are being motivated and elevated by participating in these things. Then another important aspect is our alumni engagement. How well are we connected with our own students once they leave the portals of our own college, St. John's College, or your own colleges? And we should be in touch with them and seek their assistance in different areas. So that is another aspect. Let's go a little more into it. So the student support, basically this student support and progression is having 140 marks for the UG programs and 130 marks for the PG. So what are the key indicators? Student support carries 50 marks. The difference is 5 here in the student progression. Student participation in activities is around 50, which is only 45 for the PG. Alumni engagement is the same in both the cases. So now, what is the student support? So I've already discussed what kind of professional guidance you are giving, what is the counseling that you are providing for the students, and this counseling can be either academic counseling or it can be personal counseling. Okay, and you have to keep updating yourself and see what are all the various courses that are available at different institutions across India and world over, and what are the online courses that are available, and keep them informed about what is available and disseminate this information. So that's the guidance. Then provide them employment opportunities through, you must have a placement cell, an active placement cell who conducts various workshops, seminars, and so on. Provide them employment opportunities. You should also give them training for interviewing skills, how to face the interview, what are all the things that they can learn from this. That is the second thing. Then the most important thing is a grievance redressal mechanism. If students face any difficulties, whatever be the kind of difficulties, it can be done at different levels, at their own faculty level, at the heads of the department level, or in some cases, not in all the cases, maybe in some cases, they need some professional assistance by means of a counselor. So the counselor also has to be there, and they should be from time to time give them and see to it that they are back into their normal course of study. Then once again, bridge courses. What are the bridge courses? Students, I told you, in the beginning only we will be assessing their standards after one or two or maybe a week. Give them a small test or interact with them, then you will know their level of competencies. And if you feel that they are not up to the standard that we are doing, at the rate at which the degree classes are going on is different from the way they learned in their schools and colleges. So there should be a bridge gap between what they learned and what they're going to learn. Because some courses are not learned in intermediate, so you should be able to bridge the gap. Then value-added courses, that was discussed at length by the curricular aspects. So what are all the value-added courses you are having? What scholarships the university, the college is providing, all that comes under this. So this particular student support is having 5 questions totaling to 50 marks, 25, 10 and so on. Let's now see what these questions are about. The first question says something like average percentage of students benefited by the scholarships. So I told you, you have to have name of the scheme. You have so many government organizations as CST, BC, EBC scholarships. So what is the scheme and number of students benefited by this and how much amount they have received, number of students. Now, other than government, not many students will be able to access these government scholarships. So there may be some organizations, there may be some voluntary organizations, non-government organizations, maybe some of the faculty members also may be contributing towards helping these students to get better education in higher education sector. So even that can be given. And one more thing is all these documents are all to be linked to the drive, and that drive has to be linked with your own server, which is further again connected with the website. So all these information as per the standard operating procedures laid down by the NAAC, they will not give more than 5 MB storage for each metric, that means for each question. So, but every information has to be uploaded to the website. So for this, I think Dr. Smita will go into the details of this. We need to have a server of our own and connect all the documents, link these documents to your NAAC website. The landing page should be onto the NAAC website. So what are all the documents that are required? List of students, duly signed by the head of the institution, then government sanction letters. When the students are receiving the government sanction letters, proceedings of the government, that will have a list of students that has to be scanned. And whenever you are scanning and saving it, try to save it in a PDF format because it occupies space, multiple document format. And this all ought to be compiled, and sent as a link. Then if any external members are giving any help, there should be a letter saying that so-and-so organization is extending the help in whatever way they want, and some acknowledgement from the students for having received it. That closes the circle. Then this scanned copies from the government. Generally, the government orders will take a little longer time, that is more than the academic year. So generally, the year in which you are submitting your SSR, the study support report, these orders may come a little later. So maybe at later time, you can even send them. That provision also is being there. That is again, she will be discussing, but I will be discussing. Then, so this is about the scholarships. Then the next thing is about, skill enhancement initiatives taken up by the institution. What is the scheme? What is the date of implementation? And how many students have enrolled? And if you are doing it with the help of any agencies or consultancies, who are they and what their contact details are also has to be furnished. And then maybe they even expect you to have a record of attendance in whichever way you want, online or offline. That record also has to be submitted. Then one more important thing here is, as per the SOPs, these what is given are soft skills, language and communication skills, life skills, yoga and meditation. These are all the guidelines. So what actually, if the university is offering some of these courses as part of their curriculum, then this is not to be counted here. Only which is not covered by the curriculum only can go here. That means over and above the curriculum what is prescribed, what are the extra mile, what are the extra efforts extended by the institution towards the college, in getting a better and better developed citizen. So that is what goes here. Now, what are the documents? I think list of students. And if you are having a collaboration, the proof of MOUs, details of the contact person. And a very important thing is, for every scheme, you should have a set of objectives and what is the expected outcome of that particular course once a student enrolls and completes this course. And time and again, you also have to take a feedback from the students to make sure that you started the course with some objectives, hope these objectives are being realized. And in this process, there may be some hurdles, there may be some difficulties you must have encountered. Then how did you deal with them? And then what are the better improvement that you can do? What are the steps you've taken? All this, you can have a feedback mechanism from the students. And every year, an incremental growth should be shown in these things. Because NAAC also is looking for an incremental growth for a period of whatever be the period which has been specified. Then another important thing is about these guidance and competitive examinations. We should see to it that our students write these competitive examinations. Okay? And what are the activities that you are conducting? How are you encouraging them for the competitive examinations? What is the activity that you are doing? Are you conducting awareness programs? Are you conducting workshops on alumni? Whatever way you want that, and it has to be. So the NAAC is actually, is asking for these documents. So documents required are workshops, seminars, proof of attendance, feedback, list of students, and so on. Then is there a transparent mechanism for redressal of students? So whether you are conducting implementation guidelines by the statutory bodies, or are you organizing wide awareness programs with a zero tolerance, and are you giving any mechanism for timely redressal of the grievances? How much time are you taking? What is the method? All this has to be documented and shown. So the grievances has to be the mechanism, the flow chart has to be first identify the problem and address it. And basically for the sexual harassment, it is better to cut the practice as is given by the statutory bodies, and avoid ragging and conduct awareness programs with zero tolerance. I'm happy to say that our college, I think most of the colleges are having zero tolerance with respect to this. Then what are the documents needed? What is the policy of your grievance redressal mechanism? It has to be documented and authenticated by the head of the institution. What are the measures you are taking to prevent sexual harassment, especially in co-ed colleges? What are the anti-ragging steps you are taking? And what are the committees which are constituted in your colleges to address this? And you have to record every meeting that is being conducted, how many cases have been received, and how did you address them. This is the end of the first key aspect. Then you have student progression. The efforts of the institution in allowing them to and progressing them to higher education, cracking the competitive examinations, and students qualifying for these national examinations. So this particular thing has about 25 months. So you have to give the program graduated from, name of the employer with the contact details, pay package. So you have to maintain an offer letter and a joining report from this. Together, is one record which ensures that a particular student has been given a job in a particular. Then progress into higher education, this is very important. Whenever your final year students are joining any particular institution, you have to ascertain the details of the institution where they have joined and name of the program they are admitted to, and what are the documents required here are scanned copies to be uploaded of admit cards, rank cards, and then maintain the database of outgoing batch, their list of successful candidates, and ID proof. This is a very challenging thing. As a proof of the institute into which the admission is up. And then institutes they have joined, all that information. So it depends on if you are preparing your SSR in a year or two, start preparing now onwards. This is a very, very challenging task. Then another important thing in this aspect of student thing is international level examinations, NET, SLED, GMAT, CAT, GRE, JAM, other examinations, all these. Only those who are qualified in these examinations, a record has to be maintained. If they are just writing, that doesn't become a record. But you try to maintain the record, get those information. Then the third key aspect is student participation in activities, whether you are allowing them, whether you are encouraging them, motivating them to participate in these literary, cultural, and other activities which may not be listed, but you feel that they are worth mentioning, that also should be going on. And this particular key aspect has 50 marks. Let us see what they are. The student participation in activities at university, state, international level, and so on. You have to consider the team, or it can be an individual event. Accordingly, this information has to be published. They have given it as sports and cultural. Apart from this, if you feel there are many other activities, they also can be coming here. So another, this particular thing which I want to mention here is a student support progression and alumni engagement. This particular criteria is totally a quantitative data. That means you have to give pure numbers and you should be very doubly sure when you are giving these numbers. Only 2 questions are there, which is about 15%, where you have to describe in words, which is a qualitative. The qualitative one, basically you want to involve the students. Whenever you involve the students in your activities, they are better informed and they gain better experience. So the participation of students, their representation in all these activities is a welcome change. And you have to have constituted committees where students are becoming parts of these, and there should be a record of all the students who are representing in these committees, and there should be a report on what is the contribution by each of the students into the different committees and what are their inputs and how are they taken care of in these, especially cultural, literary, and sports, their preparation of brochures, organizing, team spirit, leadership, all these can be inculcated by means of their involvement into these clubs. This is a descriptive question. Then this is organized by the institution. There are 2 questions here. One is number of activities organized by the institution, date, name of the event, name of the student who has participated, and you have to give entire list, exhaustive list. More the numbers in this particular criteria, the better scores you will get. And this also, I think Smita will throw light on this, how we have done this. Then one more thing is also there, that is actually combined. How many have you organized? That is again another question. Same format remains the same, that's why I didn't keep the slide. So what are all the activities you have organized at sports level, cultural level, literally, or any other activities, again, has to be documented. So this is about the third one. The last one is how well you are able to get the resource mobilization from the alumni. It can be financial or it can be non-financial. Okay, how are you nurturing them to hold the meetings? So this is description is 5 marks and the other one is 5. So basically this alumni contribution that we are talking about can be financial contribution or it can be non-financial contribution. Financial contribution can be actually what is expected is a corpus fund, some structure to have been built, some construction activity. That depends on your individual colleges. What are the policies laid out? That comes under financial. Non-financial is at our own control. So what you can do is by way of calling them. Your own students must have been placed in very high profiles. Invite them for delivering guest lectures. So this is one of the activity, as you can see in the picture. One of our student is addressing the final year students. Some of the company heads are also involved in this. You can conduct job fairs, you can conduct placements, and so on. So this is how you will be doing these student support. So you're all learners now. So this is how you do it. I just want to add a little more, as I am also the coordinator of the ICT. What are the ICT initiatives for this? The dedicated server you must maintain, geotagging of the photos, website updation, and these things will be done. So these are all the things. And a dedicated DS line with fairly good bandwidth is what is expected. And if you are having broadband lines, they are not considered. So 10 Mbps line and above is not 10 Mbps, I'm sorry, 100 Mbps and above is considered to be good. So with this, I just want you. Yesterday there was a question on on geotagging of the photos, especially on your research cell and so on. I just want to show you what is this geotagging that you're talking about. Geotagging is something, it's a proof of a document. You are having, saying in your SSR that you have these many facilities, this is the infrastructure we are having, and things like that. So when you say that, they want to see where exactly these cells, these clubs, these institutional infrastructural facilities are located. So for that, you have to have, what is known as a geotag photos, and that has to be linked to your website. So you also, in addition to these, by the time it comes, you also have to have many student clubs and activity clubs, and these contribution of the students in all these activities also is an added advantage. They can also contribute to you in your magazine preparations, online or offline. They all, will be added advantage to this particular criteria. As you can see here, this thing, if you just, this is a geotag photo. So just click on this. There is a satellite image. I think nowadays, even for booking the cabs, you use share the location. You go to your WhatsApp and then you can share this location. Same way, you just go to the satellite image and click on this. This is how the image is a little haze because it's a satellite image. I think you are able to see this. Are you able to see?
No, ma'am.
No?
Not visible. No,
not able to see. I'll just highlight that. So this gives you, the first one is latitude, the other one is longitude. So this information, if you give it and share it with the NAC website through our servers, they will be able to click this and then they will be able to locate your cells, clubs, centers of excellence, whatever facilities that you have shown, they can all be seeing this. This is one way of doing it. Nowadays, everyone has a smartphone. So what you have to do is when you're taking your smartphone, you set the location in your smartphone, take the photograph, and when you check for the photograph, you just go to details. You have different tabs here. Go to details.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt you, ma'am. Could you just share the screen once again? We are only able to see a blank gray screen.
You're not able to see the screen, huh?
The geotagging, yeah, ma'am. This part is not visible, ma'am.
One second. Thank you. Thank you. I thought it's seen. Now is it visible?
Yeah, it is.
It's visible now, ma'am.
Yeah. If you missed it, it is like this. So go to this G Maps, Google Maps, click on that and click your college name here. This location will come and wait for a while, then until the image is rendered. Towards the end, you may not be able to see the coordinates, but if encircling, you are able to see that red.
It's clear, ma'am, now.
It is clear, yeah.
So the latitude and longitude is what you see, and this has to be shared. Why is it important here is, I told you about several times, the cells and all what you're saying, they have to be geotagged. Yesterday, I remember in research cell and also in your green audit, that is best practices and all, what are all the facilities you are providing to the students, they have to visually see them. Basically, NAC is, looking at, they do trust us definitely, but They want to make sure when you say you are having all these facilities, everybody can say that we have all these facilities. What is the mechanism of knowing whether you already have one? This is one way. So this is very essential for this. So what I showed you was a photograph taken by a digital camera, transfer it into your system, and then locating that and transferring this link, sharing this link with the MAC website. Easier way would be, nowadays everyone has, the smartphones. In the smartphone, set the location. First, take the photograph. I think you all can do it. And when you go to the attributes, that is the properties of the image, right click on this, right click on the image that you have taken on the cell phone. You will be able to see these many menus. Go to details, right? Click on that. You have to scroll down, then you will find what is known as GPS. What is GPS? It is a global positioning system where it gives you, now I think this is better, no? You are able to see the latitude.
Yes, we can see one.
So this is how you will be doing this. So this is what you are doing. Then yeah. So this is how you will be, I think, doing this. Now, this particular criteria is now completed with all the 4 coordinates, what you are talking about. So what I'm looking now is, this I told you, we start with, in the first slide you must have seen, lifelong learning. Students and teachers are expected to be, lifelong learners. You have to keep on upgrading our knowledge to be able to, to get acquainted with the latest developments in the subject, domain knowledge. So you can ask the questions now. Before I ask the questions, when I told you that you are students, shall we give you an exercise? Teacher gives an exercise to make sure that the students have understood what she taught. Shall we start? Yes?
Okay.
Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to hand over to Lieutenant Lydia.
Yeah. Thank you.
No. Question and answers, I would like to open one window. Again, time permits. Is the time permitting?
Yes, ma'am.
We will take 2 questions.
1 or 2 questions. Just a sample. I just want you. Aparna, can you just go to slido.com?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll also try in the meantime, if you can.
Meanwhile, you can take questions.
Okay, that questions also on.
Ma'am, do you want to answer one question? Meanwhile.
Online, we thought we'll just try.
Okay.
Yeah. Please tell me, what is your question?
Okay. Ma'am,
Yeah.
the question is by Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
The question is by Muhammad Ali. Could you please suggest any ICT platform for the evaluation of subjective or descriptive questions when we go for online evaluation of students?
Yeah. That is exactly what, thank you. That is exactly what we would like to show you in this slido.com. You can have live interactions. You can have question answers. You can also have, shall I stop sharing? Aparna, are you ready?
You can stop sharing.
Yeah.
You can have questions.
Yeah. So now, say there are many things which I wanted to show you. We can also have online tools. One which I would like to show you is about Slido.com, where you can have questions asked by the presenters, by the audience. They can type the questions and we can show them the answers, and we can also show live responses. How many have answered? How many have not answered? Thereby, you are actually taking the screenshot, capturing their attendance, capturing their scores as well. That is one way of doing it. There is a Slido.com is a site. There are many other, even Google quiz also you can use. You can use LMS, Google platform, where you can have online quiz. So these are all the things. And I saw you yesterday also asking what is a platform for, I think, essay questions. These are all objective type of questions. There is one more very, 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 very sophisticated platform called as Moodle. You must have heard about Moodle, where you can have subjective questions also. You can have a question bank prepared. Ask them to select randomly from the question bank, share it with your class, with your students. They can write these answers, share the assignments. And that can be a subjective which can be evaluated at a later stage. Whereas objective type questions can be evaluated then. So this is one way. I think I have answered that question.
Yes.
One last question, Lydia.
Okay, ma'am.
One Google form, if I can open, I'll be able to show that.
Lydia, you are asking your next question.
Yes, ma'am. Next question is by Atia from Villa Mari. Student counseling comes in criteria 5, is what we understood, ma'am. How do we document such situations when student wishes to remain anonymous?
That is a very valid question. So what you can do is, you need not do it as, case by case. In general, you can give a report, what are the nature of cases and how we dealt with it, and what is the transformation that has taken place by the student in attending those counseling sessions. Okay? And one more thing is, these questions do appear across, not only in one particular criteria, they appear across different criteria. So it depends on in which context that question is asked. Accordingly, you have to provide the answers. Since it is a quantitative data here the number of cases, the nature of the cases, the type of cases can be given, and what is the mechanism you have done. You can keep still the names of the students anonymous. You need not reveal them. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Lydia.
Thank you, Poppy. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful session. Ma'am has